All right. I'll flip my screen. Thanks for joining. Here we go. Thank you for joining, everyone. This is tonight's 918 Menopossible presentation. Tonight's agenda, really quickly, we're going to quickly introduce ourselves, Jen and I. You got two Jens on tonight. And then we're just going to run through a lot of the symptoms that many of us are dealing with. Then we're going to walk through labs, lifestyle, and nutrition. All of this hopefully will take 35, 40 minutes at the most. But we're going to keep it moving really fast. So thanks everyone who's joining. I'm going to keep letting people in as they come. So thank you. If I don't take the moment to welcome you as you come in, please know I'm so glad that you're here. I'm Jenn Vonhagen. I am going to be your Menopossible guide tonight, along with my personal concierge hormone specialist, Jenn Murphy. A little bit about me. I have been experiencing perimenopause, menopause symptoms. Probably, now that I know what I know, I think it goes back to 35, and I'm 52. So I'm technically in menopause now, but I had no idea I was in perimenopause when all of this started. And it wasn't until I started going down this rabbit hole of menopause and perimenopause and all of the things that I realized, oh my God, this is why I have not felt good for a really long time. The good news is I do feel good now. And by turning that corner and figuring this out and kind of cracking the code for myself, it made me feel very passionate about making sure, one, my daughter never deals with this. She's 23, never deals with feeling blindsided by this, does not think that menopause is, hot flashes. At this point, we know menopause is not hot flashes. And I heard something funny the other day. Hot flashes are the bellwether of menopause because they can't be blamed on anything else. But all this other stuff that goes on, doctors can blame on other stuff. And so up until literally a year ago, I had no idea that the reason I haven't felt quite right since 35 was because of perimenopause. So myself, along with my concierge hormone specialist, Jenn, are going to walk you through what we've learned so far. Jenn is going to shed incredible light on many of the things that I think will help any of you that are just kind of wondering, where do we start, right? So the purpose of tonight is to help you have some information and arm you to be your own best advocate here. So there will be Q&A at the end. Like I said, we're going to try to keep it moving, so we keep it nice and short. So I'll start with, can you relate to anything on this screen? I had, like I said, no idea that I was dealing with perimenopause when I started having vertigo, when I started having joint pain and hip pain. Like I had like stabbing pain in my hips. And I was like, am I getting arthritis? Like this is so weird. I was a long time runner. It made no sense. All of a sudden I went in 2020, stopped sleeping, just stopped sleeping. Libido started crashing, had some weird skin changes. Definitely started losing hair, which was both frightening and depressing. There was mood swings. There was brain fog. The brain fog probably was the one that eluded me the most. So if you can relate to this stuff, unexplained weight gain, that definitely came on just in the last 3 years for me. But that's kind of my list. And I think there's like 30 symptoms to perimenopause, but this is just what I was dealing with. So if you can relate, you're in the right spot. And we're going to talk about some of the things that we will do to help alleviate some of this, if not all of it. So I'm gonna give Jenn the mic and let her not only introduce herself and tell you what she's doing now, because it is awesome, but also she is gonna jump into research that she shared with me that has super duper opened my eyes. So Jenn, please take it away.
Thank you, Jen. I'm excited to be here and provide a little bit of education. I've been a practitioner for 17 years and decided to get out of sick care medicine and transition into preventative. And this has just been so much far more rewarding, helping and touching women and instead of chronic diseases that are at end of life care. So just to kind of recap, as far as research, how did we get to this point? It was, for a long time, the Women's Health Initiative, that was one of the largest studies in 2002. It focused on strategies for preventing heart disease, breast cancer, and colorectal cancer. along with looking at osteoporosis and postmenopausal women. It looked at the use of estrogen versus estrogen and progestin. And so all of the study concluded that in their terms that all hormones were harmful, which we know now, 22 years later, that is simply false. There were a lot of flaws in this study, and unfortunately, I don't have enough time to talk about the flaws. But since then, we've gone decades without having a whole lot of research money spent on women. Only about 10.8% are studies spent on hormone studies for females. In 2023, a research study revealed that 85% of women who complain of menopausal symptoms, only 10.5 get HRT, hormone replacement, while the rest of them, 74.5%, get an antidepressant. So a lot of now, I look at studies from Europe because I feel like they're more clean studies. They're not driven by pharma. And in 2022, a great study came out in Sweden looking at oral versus vaginal hormone therapy after early estrogen receptor positive breast cancer in menopausal women, and neither treatment associated with risk of high recurrence of mortality or death. There was a subgroup that had a high risk of recurrent breast cancer, and ironically, that subgroup was the group with vaginal estrogen and aromatase inhibitor, or you might know as tamoxifen. Next slide.
All right. And I think what I'd like to add here, though, is the point of all of this is until recently, HRT was the villain. And now we know that hormone replacement therapy absolutely is not the villain.
That is correct. Thank you, Jen. To move forward and actually set up what this is to educate you guys as far as what's important to be testing, we're looking at the new menopause and really diving into metabolic syndrome. How does it affect us? So 45% of the women who are in perimenopause actually start to experience metabolic syndrome. What is metabolic syndrome? Well, that is it is actually an increase in blood pressure. You can have high blood glucose. You can have increased fat around the waist. You can have abnormal cholesterol, either low HDL or high triglycerides. You can have one of those things, two of those things, or all of those items. So that's kind of what defines metabolic syndrome. When they researched this in females, they found that the metabolic syndrome risk goes up as you get into menopause. So perimenopausal, about 45%, 58% seen in menopause, and 64% of metabolic syndrome, which is a high percentage in postmenopausal women. Just understand too, with metabolic syndrome, you have higher risk of heart disease, you have higher risk of strokes, diabetes, and dementia.
Yeah, I heard something the other day, Jen, that like really struck me, which is basically menopause affects every organ system in our body. And that's why it's brain inflammation, it's everything. And I never looked at it that way before. And it kind of like hit me like inflammation is hitting every organ system in the body during menopause. And that's why all of this starts to escalate so fast. It's kind of crazy.
Well, and the reason for that is because there's estrogen receptors all over your body, your brain, I mean, everywhere. And so that is actually why when we drop and decline in estrogen, then we start to see those areas of inflammation and problems.
Yeah, I found out that I have estrogen receptors in my ears, and that's why I was getting vertigo.
Yeah.
So I'll take the mic back just for a second so that we kind of give you just a little bit of a peek into what is the next bit of time we're going to spend together. We're going to focus on 3 areas. And I think this is an easy, simple way to talk about what we do have control over, right? We cannot control the fact that 100% of us will experience menopause. We might have different symptoms. 0% of us will have the exact same symptoms. But we do know that all of us will hit perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause. It's just the way the body works. And so if we look at it like that's uncontrollable, what can we control? We can control our baseline labs and understanding when we feel optimal and good, and where we are today. We can control lifestyle and we can control nutrition. So that's where we're going to spend the rest of our time here this afternoon, tonight. What time is it? I know there's somebody from Australia on here and it's morning for you. Good morning, Sarah. Okay. So anyway, toss it back over to Jen. Here's what I know to be true. Every time I go into a menopause chat group on Facebook, half of the comments are, my doctor won't run any labs for me. I have to fight to get the labs. And I don't even know what to ask for. So we wanted to give you a place to start so you could be the best advocate for yourself. So Jenn, take it away and walk us through the labs.
Yes, thank you, Jen. So I don't guess, I want to test. And that's kind of what everybody should be doing, and advocating for yourself. A lot of times physicians base things on symptoms, and that is something, yes, you can do, but really when somebody's already on treatment. And I'll explain more in a little bit about that. Labs are essential for addressing hormone levels, determining treatment needs, and it's important to understand that normal, just because it says it's normal, it really means nothing about the quality of life and doesn't say anything about your personal health. So you really want to nose dive in. What I test for, I'm pretty thorough. This is just a screenshot of kind of what applies to our case with Jen. We actually did a whole lot more labs, but these we felt were the most important. So we're going to just nose deep dive quickly into these. We did a vitamin D level, insulin levels, because of the metabolic syndrome. She was gaining weight. I did an LH and FSH to really tell us where she is on the spectrum. Is she perimenopausal, menopausal, post? We did a cortisol level. We did because she wasn't sleeping at night, and then obviously she was very stressed at the time. And then we took individual levels of testosterone. I also did testosterone free, estrogen, progesterone, and a thyroid panel T3 free. What do these labs mean? Well, the cortisol we know is produced by the adrenal glands. I'm going to go really quickly into this. It regulates your metabolism. It responds to stress. The more stressed you are, the more anti-inflammatory effects you have. You can store abdominal fat around your belly. Testosterone, we know when that declines, you decrease in your metabolism. You end up with fat around the belly, loss of muscle mass. In terms of estrogen, like as I previously said, we have estrogen receptors all over our bodies. They're primarily secreted in the ovaries. They also come from the adrenal glands. Estrogen is essential as a reproductive tissue and is a great anti-inflammatory marker. But if you have too much estrogen, this is often not mentioned, but I do see a lot of it in the forums online. The 5 Bs, I want you to think about this. If you have increased bitchiness, increased bloating, breast tenderness, bleeding, or breakouts, then you might be too much in the estrogen. And so that is often sometimes we get overlooked because our providers are prescribing estrogen, but that's when they need to test those levels and not just go on and just symptoms alone. Progesterone is a hormone that's only secreted in females. Men don't make it, obviously. Secreted by the ovaries. It's a protective agent. It helps you get pregnant. It helps you stay pregnant. It's a great anti-inflammatory. It helps you sleep. It helps you relax. It helps with stress. That is the first hormone that we lose as we head into that menopause transition. Thyroid. Thyroid is a huge regulator. Most providers just check TSH and T4 freeze. They might do a T3 reuptake, but they don't look at the T3 free. That is actually you want to look at the circulating free hormones in the body to see what is needed, because that's actually what is the source of how the thyroid functions. So that is something definitely to take note of. Vitamin D is a huge hormone in terms of it's a fat soluble vitamin, but it's also known as a hormone and is linked to many diseases associated with insulin resistance. So we included that in this scenario that is about Jen. Next slide.
This is my favorite slide, everybody. I love showing you guys my big inflammation cortisol belly.
It does get better. So you can see here, her insulin level is 9. I'm going to speed really quickly here. Cortisol level was 44.6. That is quite high. I like a cortisol level less than 10, obviously. So that was really high. An insulin level of 9, also high. You want it less than 5 or less. Glucose level, that was a fasting glucose. We want a less than 100. Her A1C put her at pre-diabetes. So she was definitely hitting those metabolic syndrome markers. Her lipids, ironically, actually, Jen, we didn't include your lipids, but those were all normal. Estradiol was low.
Nutrition is awesome.
Her free testosterone was low, her progesterone was low, her thyroid panel is actually stable for her, and that included the TSH, T4 3, and T4 free and the T3 free. Her magnesium level was great, and the vitamin D level was also very good. And just so you know, just because you're tan and you're in the sun, I live in Florida, there are many people that are deficient despite being out in the sun.
And let me just take one quick second to tell you guys, I did not know about that top line. I had gestational diabetes with my second child. So I knew there was a chance, but I had no idea it was this bad. And I also knew, I did know that my hormones were a little out of whack, but I had no idea that my cortisol was through the roof and that that was causing all this inflammation and craziness. And this is happening while I'm still going to the gym, still active, still, watching the carbs, doing all the things I did in my 30s and 40s. It was not helping. Nothing was helping. I was like starting to have a panic attack. Jen can tell you because we're very good friends and she knows. None of my clothes were fitting. None of my spell was fitting. I was mad. Anyway, carry on.
Well, nobody wants to have to get a new wardrobe, unless you really are wanting one. But to get one because you can't fit in your clothes is not a great reason. Insulin level, you can see everything improved dramatically. We still have some target areas to work on, which she is working on that. Cortisol, to bring that down, that takes time. It also takes great adaptogens, which we're going to talk to you about from a nutrition standpoint, but getting good sleep, which Jen's going to talk to you about that. She's going to kind of tell you the tips of what she's done. But you can see her numbers, even her hemoglobin A1C is down and her belly is down. You can see she's looks great.
Just because it's been so long since we looked at my inflammation belly and I want to remind you of it one more time. Here it is, one more time. But look at that. It's like, that's not even the same person. When I look at that, I'm like, what was happening? And truly, we're going to now talk about what did I do to go from before to after. And huge kudos to Jen. Number one, she listened to me, which is why she knew which labs, right? I hear a lot of people say like, my doctor just like slaps an antidepressant on it and sends me on my way. It doesn't listen. You got to find someone who can listen. If you, we have some resources at the end actually to help you find someone if you don't have someone. And obviously you can call Jen, but you got to have someone to listen to you so that you know which labs to do. And then you got to have someone listen to you about like, here's what I'm doing today and I'm really good at it so that they can help you tweak it. Because a lot of us are like, you know what? I'm running 5 miles every day. Well, guess what? I didn't know running drives your cortisol up. I had to stop running and start walking, but that's not something that I knew. So you really need someone to listen to your what you're doing in your life, so that the labs and the lifestyle recommendations make sense. They're not the same for everybody. All right, speaking of lifestyle changes, let's just kind of quickly dive into probably what you've already heard online, but this is the point of the slide, which is you're hearing so much. I heard so much that my head was spinning. I was like, wait a minute. I need a project manager to help me figure out the lifestyle changes that I now have to adopt into my life. This is a full-time, and I already have a full-time job. So I didn't want this full-time job. So I'm going to just kind of show you what I curated and started to focus on. But it really comes into 4 buckets: sleep, protein, movement, booze. Okay. And nutrition is its own whole thing, just like labs are. But these are the lifestyle changes. Okay. So let's walk through it. What does the research say? I call this the rules of the road because, as far as I can tell, this is where everybody agrees. Sleep, we need 8 hours. I was never getting 8 hours before. And progesterone saves my life. And I have a whole sleep routine that I'm happy to share. But 8 hours of sleep, get a routine, and definitely start thinking about the supplements that help you sleep, like magnesium, like calcium, like fiber. Those things can help you fall asleep and stay asleep at night. And we're going to talk about that in just a second with the nutrition. Protein. I had no idea I was supposed to be eating this many grams of protein. So you want the number of grams of protein to equal your goal weight. So if my goal weight is 120, I need to be eating 120 grams of protein. That seems like a ridiculous amount until you figure out how the little hacks can work for you. For example, I get in 30 grams of protein before I even get outside with my dog. So I have these little protein shakes. I drink it in the morning. I do that before my coffee. You need protein before coffee. So right off the bat, I'm down to only need 90 more. Okay. And we can talk about different ways to sneak that in. We're talking about that along with recipes on the Menopossible page. I encourage you to jump on that page. And then movement, 10,000 steps a day. If you can do more than that, that's amazing. When I worked from home and I was freelancing, that was no problem for me. Now that I'm in an office almost all day, this is really hard for me. I have to like make it happen. So now I wear a weighted vest when I'm walking to make my steps count even more. And instead of running, I flip to resistance training because apparently another thing we get to celebrate in menopause is that our bone mass is going down and our lean muscle mass is much harder to hold on to. So resistance training is like the secret weapon for women our age. And if you only have a little bit of time to be moving and active, resistance training is the most bang for our buck. So walking and resistance training, I heard it over and over again. Finally, booze. I don't know about you guys, but alcohol equals bad sleep. So if I drink a glass of red wine or have a bourbon, I know that I'm giving up a couple hours of sleep because I will wake up at 4. So if you can give it up, that's best. If you cannot, try to limit it and move it to much earlier in the evening so that you have a chance at getting a good night's sleep. It raises our cortisol. So for me, it's the biggest thing I have to work on. So I'm going to flip it back over to Jen because the next portion of this is nutrition. And the setup for nutrition is that we have to have a clean slate for all this other stuff to work, all this HRT. So I want Jen to like walk us through the reality of where we are with our food supply, just everything else going on and what that's actually doing to our estrogen receptors, and why the next bit of this, which is the nutrition strategy, is so important. So
So, we all don't want to end up looking like toxic Barbie. We want to be real Barbies. And obviously not plastic, but beautiful inside and out. And I've just got functionally medicine certified, as well as I'm working on towards another certification with regards to hormones. But it is very clear to me that obviously, we are exposed to so much pesticides, herbicides, seeds, oils, plastics, parasites. I mean, you name it, putting in gas in your car, the fumes from the gas we're exposed to, those fumes can sit on our hormones. So we have, it is best to start with a clean slate, even if before you even start with hormones. Really get good nutrition in, and you'll hear more about that, and really starting with a clean slate so that you understand, and we want those hormones that you do end up consuming going to working correctly. All these toxins that were mentioned above are endocrine disruptors, and these chemicals can interfere with the body's hormones and endocrine system. We have estrogen, as I previously said, we have estrogen receptors all over our body and present in every tissue. And what we don't want is those endocrine disruptors like plastics or seed oils to sit on our hormones and disrupt the function of what our hormones are supposed to do. Hormones are supposed to help with growth, metabolism, development, sleep. And, one of the amazing, interesting facts to me is that, unfortunately, everything that we're exposed to can get passed to our children through the placenta. So it's really important to help understand, and try to limit these toxins. Unfortunately, we are consuming a lot of chemicals through our food supply, as Jen mentioned. Our young teens and women are bathing in toxic chemicals just through their beauty habits. And then we ourselves are kind of setting us up for failure with our microbiome disruption from all the antibiotic use. And so, we're seeing more reproductive disorders, we're seeing more cancers, more diabetes, metabolic syndrome, as you saw in previous slides, and heart disease.
And PCOS.
PCOS, yes.
So yeah, so the bottom line is we kind of can't escape all of this stuff. We can do the best we can, right? We can eat organic, wash our, vegetables, go have a garden, all the things. But unless you're, hiding inside, we're all just exposed to it. So the best thing we can do, and the best way to make the hormone replacement therapy work is to lock down the nutrition. And we're just calling this a clean slate because that's exactly what it is. We're going to detox, we're going to cleanse the body of the toxins, we're going to balance the pH in our body, and then we're going to build back the things that we're missing. And as we know, and we just talked about women of our age, we start to lose a whole bunch of stuff. So as we start losing things that we need to replenish them. So when we feed our body what's missing, it's kind of amazing what it will do to get us back to where we need to be and then back in balance. It's kind of an amazing machine, but we have to do the job of cleaning out the oil and giving it the right fuel, right? Like if we just skip over the nutrition part and think that we can solve it by putting hormones into us, it is not going to give us the result that we want. So what do we need now? This is, again, as best as I can curate all of the information that's coming at us from everywhere. There's more that we need, but these are the themes that you see most of the menopause professionals and experts talking about. And these things are to help us with bone density, lean muscle mass, moodiness, stress reduction. That's a big one. Lowering our cortisol, getting our blood sugar under control. All of these things that are on this screen right now. We could talk for hours about all of them, but we don't need to. What we do need to realize is trying to get in all of this is a lot of work if you're taking them all separately, right? If you're like, okay, I got these capsules, this powder, this. Okay, add it all up.
Right.
Who's gonna take like 50 capsules a day? I'm not. I don't have time for that. I need my routine to work with my schedule and with my lifestyle. And I am up and out the door massively early now that I have a child in high school. So it has to be doable for me. And I want to get all of these things in. So the next little bit we're going to talk about is my specific routine that I follow and that, as you saw from the results, is definitely working for me. I will also tell you before, I blame it all on nutrition. I will not do that. I also take progesterone at night, and Jen has me on a testosterone cream that does have, is it estradiol, Jen?
And that's just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Okay, so I have testosterone, just a little bit of estrogen and progesterone going into my body. Okay, and that's a pretty simple routine. I will say I started out with pellets. They seem to work fabulously for many people. For me, a ton of my hair fell out and it did not work. It threw my testosterone through the roof. And then once the pellet's in, it's in. So for me, I prefer this more gentle approach that I can kind of control. But without the nutrition I'm going to show you, the hormones that I'm taking would not be doing the job that they're doing. So let's talk about something that's doable. So what I do is literally this from morning down. So I start with organic sulfur. And I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of time on these products, guys, because we're trying to keep this at 30 minutes and we're already at 28 minutes. So I will tell you that at the very end of this, if you want to do a deep dive on these products and understand them, reach out to me. I've got tons of resources. You can watch a video on your own time. You can attend another webinar that's just about these products if you want to. But this is my routine. Starts with sulfur, which is a mineral that we lack because of our food supply. This lowers inflammation for me. Next, I add in energy, daily build, Mila, Goyen, and some protein shake. Okay, what is so special about these? I will tell you that purple bag that you're looking at is the reason I don't have any brain fog. The back of that bottle with the red stripe has 23 vitamins and minerals. Everything you saw on that other slide, it's in there. The energy sticks, those have ashwagandha. They are amazing plant-based caffeine, better than coffee if you're trying to fight that cortisol battle. All of those things, the Goyen, great for mood swings, depression, and hot flashes. All that goes into my smoothie. Then midday, I treat myself with something called Me Collagen. It is a probiotic. It has biotin, hyaluronic acid, copper, which, by the way, I did not know you cannot absorb the collagen without the copper. Super fun fact. So if you're buying these big vats of collagen powder and there's no copper in it, you are wasting your money. So midday, I have that. It tastes delicious. It's a fun little pink drink. And then before bed, my nighttime routine kicks in. So the large bottle with the green stripe, that's calcium that is perfectly balanced with vitamin D and vitamin K. This is plant-based calcium, helps me sleep. Little tiny bottle, that's a cleanse. I do that for 7 to 10 days at the beginning of the month, and that cleanses the 7 channels of elimination in the body so that my hormones that I'm pouring in can work. Again, the purple bag, Mila, that's microsliced chia seed, and they're not regular chia seeds. They are harvested in volcanic regions, so they are packed and gorged with omegas, and that is what's alleviating the brain fog for me. And then the bottle that you can't read, it says Serene. That is a cortisol lowering dynamo right there. It has rhodiola rosea in it and a bunch of other amazing things. Mumio, I can't even say this stuff, guys. I'm not the pro. I just consume it. But anyway, this is my routine. It is highly doable, and because I can do it every day, that is why it's working. Because I can do this every day in, day out, and it's not that big of a deal. It takes me like 3 minutes. So let me tell you what this looks like if you are shopping for it. You can purchase this from Live Pure. This is what I take. You can get the price that you see is a preferred customer price. That's 25% off of the retail price. I've got a link. Whoever invited you to this webinar can give you a link. That's just our discount code, okay? There's a 30-day satisfaction guarantee, which is what I love about this. You can try this for 30 days. And if you're not feeling it, you can send it back. And there's no questions asked. So you've got 30 days to try it. If it's not working, give Pure a call. They're amazing. But you won't do that because you will feel good. There's no like purchase commitment. You don't have to buy something every month. I am on a subscription because I don't like to run out of stuff. And because I'm on a subscription of the things that I enjoy the most, I earn 20% back every time they send me stuff. So that's pretty cool. You don't have to buy all of this every single month, by the way. Some of these products last a lot longer than a month, but some of them you do run out in a month because there's a 30 servings in a bottle. For example, the daily bill and the calcium. So just know that it's not $414 every single month for the rest of your life. But if you ask me, $400 to get your collective shit together so that HRT will work, money. So I actually find that to be a bargain compared to everything I have poured into myself that hasn't worked, including those pellets, which were way more expensive. So anyway, this is a little bit about Pure. What is Pure? You probably have not heard of it. Pure is a 17-year-old company. It was founded by a bunch of doctors who realized this cleanse, balance, build system was working for their patients, men and women, to help alleviate all kinds of problems. They were helping people get off prescriptions. They decided to take that out of their practice and turn it into a line of products that people do for themselves at home. So they just basically made their protocol much more accessible. There's 80 products in total. We're just looking at a tiny bit of them. But it's an online shopping experience, no repurchasing, 30-day satisfaction guarantee. What I love about this is that supplements freak me out because we know they're not FDA tested and you have no idea what's in the bottle. But with Pure, they do have third-party testing and it is all done in an FDA-approved facility. I love knowing that exactly what they say is on the bottle is what I am getting every single time. So for me, if I'm going to pour money into the supplements that I'm pouring into my body, I want to make sure that what I'm paying, what it says I'm getting is what I'm getting. So we're just going to wrap it up with some extra resources. So you've heard about what labs to get. And I encourage you to reach out to Jenn, by the way. She's on the Facebook page, the Menopossible Facebook page. Reach out to Jenn. She's on Facebook. You'll see her name all over that page. Ask her about labs. She's incredible. I would not have made this progress without having someone to listen to me and who knows what they're talking about to make the recommendations that she has. But other resources that I really think are important, the Good Energy book that just came out by Dr. Callie Means. Guys, that's all about what we've been talking about with the pesticides and herbicides and toxic food. And like, please do yourself a book. The New Menopause by Dr. Mary Claire Haver is incredible. And it's packed full of research. So if you are a research junkie and you love to just know all the things, that is a fantastic book. There's 2 communities that I would encourage you to join. Changing Lives with Pure is an invite only, but it's like the Yelp of Pure. So if you want to go find out what other people have to say, there's like, I don't even know how many it is now, 13,000, 20,000, I don't know. There's so many people on this page that I guarantee you, if you type it in the search bar, here's what I'm dealing with, it'll come up. Somebody will have something to say. I promise. And it's incredible. Menopossible Happy Hour, that is my page for Jenn and I discussing our resources, putting, protein recipes there, and just basically having people chat about menopause. It's just nice to have a community of people who are going through what you're going through and can relate. There's also the Menopossible Journal. This is a tracker. If you're interested in this, hit me up on Facebook or however you usually get in touch with me. It's just a PDF. Like I said at the beginning, I felt like I needed a project manager to handle all the things I need to do with my lifestyle and things I need to take and all the stuff. So I created my own little like checklist guide. I'm an analog girl. I like paper. So that's what that is, and I'm happy to send it to you. It's super easy to use. And then there's also a page that we love called Wake Her Up. And the thing that I'm listing here is a list of providers. So if Jenn is not accessible to you, or you just need to have someone in your neighborhood, we can send that link out to you guys. And that is a list of providers in the United States who are hormone specialists who can help the way Jenn has helped me. So that's a really valuable resource if you don't have someone you can talk to. And then finally, I would say, if we piqued your interest with the nutrition stuff and you really want to take a deeper dive and look at that, and check out that routine and give it a try, but you kind of want to get just a little layer deeper than we're able to do tonight, I would highly encourage you to join a weekly webinar that is run by my friend who's a PA. Her name is Rachel Garcia. She has been doing this for 16 years with Pure. I don't know anyone on the planet that knows more about this stuff than she does. And she educates every single week on Mondays. That's how many people are interested in this. And there's lots of people on that call, but she covers, what's in the products, how they work, a little bit more about Pure if that's something that you want to learn more about, and how Pure can help your entire family. So the men too. This is not just for the women, your husbands, your grandfathers, your dads, your sons, men and women can all benefit from the over 80 products that Pure has. So there's a skincare line. There's so much, you guys. But anyway, we wanted to keep it focused tonight on menopause. If you check that webinar out, you're going to find that it's a little more general. It's not going to be focused on menopause. So we just wanted to have one little safe space for us to come in here and talk and focus. But just know that if you want to go deeper, we can shoot you that webinar link. It's super easy. It's also a Zoom. So that is everything that we have for tonight. And I get back to Zoom. Oh, hi. There's so many cutie pies here. Hello. I couldn't see any of your faces. So anyway, I guess I'll stop recording, and I think what I should do is maybe open it up if anybody has any questions. Where's the recording button? Up here. Okay, I'm gonna stop the recording. And how do we do, Jenn? Oh, we're only